Hi second grade, welcome back to the virtual art room. I'm excited to have you back. I loved seeing all of your work. If you emailed me your work last week, thank you so much. That was really cool to get to see what people were doing. It made me feel very connected to you guys. So if you haven't sent me your work yet and you want to this week, that would be really awesome. I'd like to see what you're working on. If you're working on something else besides this project, I'd love to see that too. So feel free to send me any art that you're working on. You can have your parents help you email it to me. Today we are going to be working on a drawing or a painting if you have paint. We're going to be looking at an artist named Georgia Okeeffe, and she was really well known for her close-up pictures of flowers. All right, so we're going to test that out today. So I'm going to give you the materials list so that you can pause it and go grab the things that you need today. The things you need today are a pair of scissors, some scrap paper that you can cut up, paper to draw on, and then your drawing tools. So markers, crayons, Sharpie, pencil, whatever you have. And if you have paint, since Georgia Okeeffe was a painter, this would be a cool project for painting. So if you have any, go right ahead. And if you don't, it's okay. All right, go ahead and pause it and grab your materials.
Georgia Okeeffe was an American modernist painter. She was born in 1887 and died in 1986. She lived for 98 years. She decided to become an artist at the young age of 10. In her art, she liked the idea of expressing herself through using line, color, and shading. Colors and shapes make a more definite statement than words, she said. Many of her paintings were produced by looking closely and imaginatively at the world, especially her flowers like we're going to make today. She lived for a long time and her art career was long and accomplished. She made more than 1,000 pieces of art.
Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to use our materials for, we're going to take our scrap paper and we're going to cut this out and use it as a template for one of our petals. So I don't need my paper to be this big, so I'm just going to cut a little piece off that I could use for my petal. Now I'm going to think about how I want to place my petals on my page. For my example flower, I chose to place the center of my flower off center, so it's a little asymmetrical. If you want it to be directly in the center, that's fine. I chose it a little off to the side, so some of the petals go off the page and some fit perfectly on the page. I think that adds a little bit of interest. You can choose how you want to do yours. So to cut out my petal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my piece of paper because flowers' petals are symmetrical. They're the same on both sides. So now, all I need to do is cut a line on here and it will open up to make the petal. Let's see, if you'd like to draw your line on there first, that's fine. Make sure that the center part is your folded part of your template here. So let's see here. Maybe I want my petal to look like that. So I'm going to cut right along that line. I'm going to open it up and see if that looks like a good petal shape. Yeah, I think that could be pretty cool all the way around. If you don't like your petal shape, you could fold it back and cut it again. Maybe I want it to be more rounded at the tip or at the bottom of it. If you don't want to create the template to create your flower, you don't have to. Let's say you hate that one. Let's start over. Let's try another one. I'm going to get a piece of my scrap paper. I'm going to fold it in half. The folded side is going to be the center line. Let's try and make a sillier petal. This one I put waves on. Let's try that out. that's a silly flower petal shape. So you'll decide what works for you. We want to make them kind of big though, because it's supposed to be a close-up picture of a flower. So if they go all off the page, that's okay. Let's try a fatter one. I think I might use this big one as my favorite. So you can see, I'm kind of experimenting, playing around with it. The first one I made might not be the best one. Kind of like that big one on this paper. Be nice and close up. Maybe make it a creative flower, whimsical flower, and have all three in yours. That wouldn't be a realistic flower, but that would be okay. All right, so I'm gonna use my biggest petal. I'm gonna pick my spot for the center of my flower. I'm gonna choose a little bit towards the top and I put a little circle on my page. Mine's about the size of a nickel. You can choose the size of the center of your flower. Maybe it's gonna be huge. It's your choice. Okay, I'm gonna place my petal up to it and I'm gonna trace my petal onto my page. And then I'm gonna move it. And I'm gonna trace my petal onto my page.
All right, second grade, I had fun creating with you today. Remember, we talked about 2 words today in the art room, crop and close up. And a cropped view of a picture and a close-up view means you're not seeing all of it, okay? It's just a part of the picture that we're seeing, and that's what we did today. And to make your art look like that, if you ever want to try a cropped picture or close-up picture again, is to make sure that you have parts of it going off of the page, okay? And that helps the viewer know that this is not all of the picture. This is a cropped view of the picture. All right, you guys have a really good rest of your week. I hope you liked creating some art inspired by Georgia Okeeffe, and I will see you next week.